Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your girl Queen Talks Crime, and I'm back with another video. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, comment down below if you have any comment, questions, or concerns. Thank you all for watching, and if you are new to this channel, welcome. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix documentary. Before we get into that, though, disclaimer. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Okay, so a lot of people and family are outraged at the Netflix documentary. Okay? So we're going to keep it all the way funky. We're going to keep it all the way real. And we're going to address who's all at fault. You know, what's too far, who don't owe nobody nothing, who do. And let's keep it all the way real. First, we're going to start with Miss Dahmer. Okay? She failed Jeffrey because she had her own problems. She had her own mental illness, okay? And the depression she was battling, okay? And then she was attempted to unalive herself a few times. Also, she was greedy and basically competing with her children for her husband's attention and time and love. So with Miss Dahmer, it was basically about her. So if you are being about you, you can't check on what's going on with anyone else. So that also left Jeffrey in the back. It left Jeffrey in the back. So she failed him because she was self-centered. I'm not going to blame it on mental illness because a lot of people out here are coping with it just fine, you know, getting the help that they need. So at the end of the day, you know, I'm not going to say just because of that she couldn't see. I don't want to blame it on one thing. It's a plethora of things when it comes to Miss Dahmer. Now, like I said, she was so much about her, she couldn't see what was going on with Jeffrey or what problems that he may have had. She couldn't see that. Now, moving on to Lionel Dahmer, how he felt Jeffrey was that he had talked, he would answer Jeffrey's questions that he would ask him in the chemist section because, you know, Lionel was a chemist and he worked a lot and things of that nature. So when Jeffrey would ask him, you know, a few questions, he would answer it right there. Yeah, he got excited. He thought he was going to be a chemist, but he didn't go further with Jeffrey. He could have went further to see where his mind was. It's good to ask your children questions. I like to be all up in my kids' stuff, okay? And like I said, especially nowadays, especially with the situation I have with my oldest, you know, I like to communicate with them, and I thought I thought I was doing that with my oldest, but he was hiding a lot of things from me. So to prevent getting things hid from me, I just, you know, I pop up, hey, what's up, you know, I go through phones a little bit, you know, well, when I feel like I need to. I ask questions, I get inside their heads, ask them how they feeling. I just be on it. Because you have to. You have to make sure your kid's mental is okay. You got to make sure their inside is okay, you know. So I like to ask them questions, let them know they're beautiful, they're handsome, this and that. You just got to talk to them and see where their mind is at, see where they at. And what's going on? What are their friends doing? What are their friends suggesting to them? You know, what are they being exposed to outside? Because kids do be exposed to things. Trust. They're exposed to a lot of things. So you got to be into it. Okay? So Lionel was off to work. He was being a chemist. Then he went through the divorce with Miss Dahmer. She took David and moved to Ohio. Lionel moved to a hotel. And there Jeff was abandoned. He was abandoned. And he felt that. Another problem where they both failed him at, they abandoned Jeff. And of course he felt that. And he didn't take that too well in his mind. So that's one of the things that a recipe for disaster for Jeff was that he was abandoned. So Jeff missed the signs because he didn't go further into conversation. He didn't ask Jeff questions. He didn't try to get inside his head. And even being that Lionel became honest and was like, look, I had some of the thoughts that Jeff had, but I took it and used it in another way. If you only talk to your son, do you know how much you could have saved 17 boys? Possibly saved 17 lives. Obviously, there's nothing you can do about it now, but Jeff was failed by the parents. Let's move on. Who else failed and who's all at fault here? Grandmother. She overlooked a lot of things at the house when Jeff came to stay with her. He had skeletons in his closet, literally, in boxes. He had male mannequins in his closet. He had a deceased person under the house. She was smelling smells. And she saw the mannequins of the men, got scared and worried when she went to go put something up in his closet. Just horrible smells below the house that didn't go away. Instead of her going down there or calling someone to send them down there. They could have known then what Jeff was doing. Instead, did nothing. Phone Lionel to come talk to Jeffrey instead of getting the help to go finding it, what it is. Especially after she found it in his closet. So she also aided in failing Jeff. Then when Jeff got older, okay, Lionel, well, he said he didn't know when he was 14 and through high school, he didn't know he was drinking from sun up to sundown at school. He said he didn't know. Okay. But I guess later on, he allegedly realized that Jeff had a drinking problem, so he took him to rehab. Now, when those few times that Lionel would drop Jeff off, Jeff would jump the fence and be gone. Jeff wasn't going to no rehab. If you really want to make sure your child's getting the help they need, you need to go with them and walk their butt in that door. I'm just saying. But by the time Jeff was grown, shoot, he was able to not even go. He could possibly leave when he wanted to. He wasn't, so they should have got on it earlier, but they missed all the signs. They missed the signs because they had their own plethora of things going on. And I get it. Nobody's perfect. But we do need to take accountability on how he turned out the way he is. Now, he could have been just a bad seed. But you don't know that if you didn't do everything that you could before that happened. Now, I was gonna, let's get to the maintenance man when Jeff was living in his apartment. Maintenance man. So you got all those complaints about the horrible smell. And most people, I'm not going to say everyone, knows what a dead rodent, a dead mouse smell like. So you know a human is probably times 100. The maintenance didn't do anything. Didn't go to try to figure out what it was. He now says he did. But it's rumored in the past that he did it. Obviously because the smell stayed there until Jeff got caught, right? With that being said, the maintenance man did not do his job. Because the first time he got complaints, repeatedly complaints, nothing was done by the maintenance man. Once you went in there, still couldn't find the smell, and still, you can't tell me you didn't know the smell was coming from that apartment. As you was coming close, it had to have gotten stronger. You should have called the police. You didn't. You tremendously failed. Failed. And you ignored the complaints. Maybe you didn't care. Maybe you was overwhelmed. Maybe you didn't feel like it was important. Those 17 lives was important. He was in there like a butcher in that apartment. Neighbors was complaining. Everyone was complaining about the smell. And you, as a maintenance man or a tenant, a landlord, had a duty to go in there and see what it was so your other tenants can live comfortably. You did nothing. Maybe because it was in a bad environment or a low-class environment, you didn't care. And that's what it's given you didn't care. Let's move on to the neighbors that called and complained to the landlord, to the maintenance guy who did nada. After me calling, if I was there once or twice and I'm getting sick by that smell, I'm calling the law enforcement. Because at some point, you got to know if it's that bad and you smell it and it's worse than a mouse, a rat, a squirrel, a raccoon, whatever, something's wrong. And a lot of people knew the direction it was coming from. But he was one white guy in this building of minorities, Black Americans. And nobody wanted to mess with him. I get it. Back in the day, you had the race issue. But at some point, I would have still called the police. That could have saved, again, 17 men/boys. Now, let's move on. So, like I said, maintenance neighbors, y'all fell in this too. Could have saved some lives. Y'all have thought as well. I'm just going to keep it real here. Running down the list. Let's get to the police. Y'all remember? Let me ask y'all this question, officers. How do you feel now knowing that you let the most prolific monster of Milwaukee go at that traffic stop? We had body parts in black big bags in his back seat. And you didn't attempt to ask what's in the bag or anything of that nature. How do you feel now? Officers that saw that nude boy that was bleeding from his head and his backside. Nude, naked, bleeding. How do you feel that you sent him back to the person who unlived him? Who finished off the job? Because I hear people saying excuses like, oh, he was of a different origin or Hispanic, whatever, so they couldn't understand him. Well, when you got something going on in your brain, you can't speak anyway. But you know when someone's disheveled. Come on, police officers, let's not play that. We know when someone's disheveled, we know something is not right. You get that feeling and you can see with your eyes that something wasn't right, and he was bleeding. At that point, you didn't think to call an ambulance to come check him out first? Y'all least couldn't give, and you saw that he was a boy. A lot of people around said you could tell he was a boy. Y'all didn't even call an ambulance to check him out from head to toe. Then here comes Jeffrey, charismatic, charming, sweet talker. And y'all let him fool you like goof troops into giving him a victim to finish off. How do you feel now, officers, knowing that you are responsible for that boy? You could have saved his life. Because you did not do your job. You didn't assess the situation. You didn't assess this boy while he was outside stumbling and falling, and these two concerned Black American women are calling you saying, hey, something's wrong, instead of you calling 911 to get an ambulance to check him out from head to toe, you don't want to deal with it. Whether it was for racial disparities, whether it was because you wanted to go do something else, want to get to the donuts, want to get done with your shift, want to go home, whatever it was, it cost him his life, and was it worth it? How do you feel now that you now assess the situation that you did not give him medical attention? You saw your job is to protect and serve, and that boy visibly needed medical attention, and you just let Dahmer say, oh, he's just drunk, this is my boyfriend. And you saw that Dahmer was a man and that baby was a boy. But because of his gender and sexuality, you didn't care. Let's keep it real. How do you feel? Y'all felt that baby too. Y'all felt them. Now let's get on to the documentary. Now that we done broke down who I failed Jeff and who was at fault, who failed him to becoming who he was and who he was when he got older, and him couldn't have been stopped many times before we got to the death toll that we got to. Now let's talk about the documentary. Why people are so outraged. So the family allegedly, some, not all, some are outraged because they feel like they deserved the money from the documentary. Comment down below, let me know what do y'all feel about that. I'll give y'all my opinion real quick. I don't agree. I don't agree. So every time somebody make a documentary that talks about the victims, y'all deserve to get money, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I would be just grateful that y'all are remembering my online family member and y'all are keeping them out there and the whole wide world is knowing who my family member was, that you portrayed, my family member's documentary, and they'll never be forgotten. That would have been enough for me. But for people to feel like they deserve a piece of the pie because their family is being in this documentary, I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I just don't. I don't agree with that. So everybody that makes a documentary about them, you're going to want a piece of coin from that too. I just don't. I'm not with that. Now, some are angry because they said that didn't happen with their loved one, or it was not right, or it was how they portrayed their family member wasn't right, or what happened with Jeff, with the family member, that didn't happen like that. Now, I will say they definitely are in the right to be angry about that. If you're going to do a documentary and if you're going to use someone's loved one, respect them by getting it right. If you don't know, ask. If you don't know, then don't even try, in my opinion. Because I feel like that's disrespectful to the family and the victim. If you're going to do a documentary, at least do it right with what happened according to the facts of what happened with Jeff and him unaliving all of his victims. At least get it right. And that's how I do feel about that. And they have a right to be angry about that. That I do agree with. Okay? I mean, this is difficult. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard when you have a family member that was violently unalived. The memory themselves will continue to live on worldwide. I will be happy just within that. Everybody that talks about your family member doesn't necessarily have to give you anything. Okay? And I'm not being rude here or insensitive, but it's just the fact, in my opinion, that they directed it, they did the work, they should get paid for it. I mean, if they want to help out and donate some of their coin to you, then by all means. But to feel deserving of it because your family member was taken by this character and this person is talking about and directed a documentary about it. It's plenty of documentaries out about Jeffrey Dahmer. So every documentary, y'all deserve a coin. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. But this is the reality, and this is what I want to say because I'm so tired of, people are outraged and all this, that, and the other. And I just wanted to just get it out there. Who's at fault? Who failed Jeffrey from a young age through high school? Who could have stopped him? Who was wrong? And I laid it all down from A to Z. All these people failed Jeff. No, his family failed Jeff. All the family failed Jeff. And the police officers, maintenance, neighbors, they all failed the victims. All these people were failed. And that's the sad part of this documentary, that they're no longer here. Because we overlook so much. This your girl Queen Talks Crime. I am out. Make sure y'all thumbs up the video. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Who you believe is at fault. Who you blame. Should the family get some money of the documentary? Please do not be ugly to anyone in the comments. Please be nice. Agree to disagree. Your girl Queen signing off.